Welcome. Today is that day where we're going to take votes on the name of the show.
Today is the day?
Yeah, today is the day. We are back, so we thought that it's a good
He was
day.
missing us yesterday. I thought
Yeah.
we'll push it to today.
But sir, did you listen to our show? Did you watch our show?
Yeah, I did. I did watch a little. Mahima
Was
was
it
very
helpful?
good.
Mahima
was very good.
Anyway, jokes apart. Yeah, so you want to...
नहीं nothing. अब शुरू कीजिए.
Okay, so-
आपका banking and policy है कल.
Yeah, so of course, big day, policy day. It seems like a 25 basis points cut is very well on the cards. At least the market is clearly pricing it in. And it would be a surprise now, I feel, that if there is no cut. So it will be a surprise if Sajeet sir wins a coffee. Yeah.
So in either case, I will be drinking one.
Even
शायद अपने पैसे से या नीरज के पैसे से कॉफी तो पीऊंगा.
Hey, that's true. So sectors that you'll want to watch out for.
No, just before we get to sectors, no, I just thought that one key thing to monitor that what I said in the trade setup in the morning as well, that for a trader who's looked at the bank nifty and initiated a long at lower levels, maybe today at 328, if it's a very short-term trader, it's prudent to get out of that position tomorrow pre-policy if you're a short-term trader, simply because the only caveat is, or you should be willing to digest some volatility, because the only caveat is if in their wisdom the RBI MPC decides कि नहीं करना है rate cut, then the bank nifty could see a knee-jerk reaction and your stop losses will get triggered.
Yes.
So you might as well take some chips off the table, if not the entire thing. Now, of course, if you can stomach the volatility and if you believe that the market is going to head higher any which ways, बात अलग है. But if you're not, and if you're then might as well take money off the table, not wait for the policy decision.
नीरज कुछ हो रहा है उस पे ना, right? We started the day with Nifty Bank on a higher side and now it's corrected almost 2/5 of the percent, 20.2%. तो कुछ longs unwinding हो रही है, ऐसी बात नहीं है. What he's saying is right. That you know, if you don't have that thing, and it's not a weekly thing, it's a monthly contract which the Nifty Bank which is there. So you have to be very cautious. कल 10 बजे अनाउंसमेंट आएगा, उससे पहले अगर आज करते तो अच्छी बात है, नहीं तो कल आज वैसे भी निफ्टी का एक्सपायरी है.
Yeah, it may well happen that the Nifty Bank logs in another 300, 400, 500 points if the policy decision and the announcement is hawkish, dovish. But if we are not willing to digest the volatility, you can get out of it. I just thought that from a trader's perspective, that was important to highlight.
And couple of people are now at least saying that शायद इस बार dovish वो होगा commentary, but cut नहीं होगा.
Nilkant said that he believed that the RBI should not cut. To each their own. Jayesh Mehta was firmly of the belief that we should get a 25 basis point. Let's wait and watch.
Yeah, and you'll see, and so 2-3 likely outcomes, and maybe sirs, you all can chip in. One is that if there is a rate cut, you'll likely see the rupee get weaker for sure, unless the RBI intervenes in a big way. Believe that is one place which you will want to look out for, and all rupee sensitives and interest rate sensitives will therefore get impacted. Rupee sensitives, all export facing sectors, and interest rate sensitives, anything which depends on a loan, especially realty, NBFCs, banks, of course, all lenders, but especially along with it realty index, and maybe EMIs get cheaper as a result of this.
Yeah,
very quickly.
I'm of the view, and I've been saying that okay, you can cut interest rate, but till the time the transmission happens, it's not going to make any difference to any person. It's just on paper which is going to happen. The transmission is very important for a rate cut to happen and for these sectors to benefit.
Yeah.
अगर नहीं होगा तो
Sir, no sir, but transmission will happen very quickly, because we saw a couple of lenders come out and advertise and say that we've already started cutting rates on some products.
Unsecured now.
So on the consumer side, the transmission will happen very quickly.
So then,
but on the investor side, the transmission will take some time. So for banks and NBFCs, the transmission may take some time because deposit rate movement will take some time.
So you'll have to look at a 2-year paper.
NBFCs will be quick again. Sorry, just want to complete the point. NBFCs will be quick. The re-rating will be fairly quick in terms of what they borrow. The transmission will happen very quickly. But for banks, it may take some time because deposit rates may take some time to move. And FDs may take even longer. to re-rate, because some people would have already locked in FDs at 8.5%. And therefore that transmission may take even more time. So some of that
Before that,
to be kept in mind.
SBI rules. Market has been.
Yeah, but before that, what I want to also highlight is some names which you want to keep on your radar, and we have a list of them, especially on the lenders. Realty stocks, of course, but among lenders, you may want to keep your eye out on something like a LIC housing. You may want to keep an eye out on PNB housing, Canfin Homes, so all the housing financiers. Bajaj Finance, again, top of this list, what you will start noticing is it's more NBFCs and less banks. Even though banks are cheaper relative to their 5-year averages versus NBFCs, but what you're seeing is more NBFCs on this list because they will see a larger impact, because what they borrow will re-rate fairly quickly, and therefore their margins will expand quickly and thereafter maybe contract a little bit depending on how they have adjusted their rates for new loans. But this is how the list really reflects. Aavas, Aptus are among them, Shriram Finance also. Bajaj Finance will benefit maybe 10 bips or so is what they've suggested in their commentary itself. So likely that's also the reason why it's on this list. Chola, L&T, Manappuram, SBI Cards, M&M Financial. Those are some others where you will well see some amount of impact of that 25 basis point rate cut if it were to translate. Golden words. But if it were to translate. Sorry, SBI. I'm sorry, I'm just going on a rant.
No, please. Just keep in mind, I just wanted to mention, viewers, that we have the poll running for your show, show name, right? So on YouTube, so please go and vote if you will. All of us have our favorites, but would love to see what viewers per se think. So please do vote. I urge you, please do vote. It's great to have that participation.
Yes. Right, and thank you for all the suggestions, because that's the reason why we did the poll.
Amazing suggestions. बहुत मजा आया.
No, but I said it yesterday as well that the suggestions were amazing, and so do participate.
And very creative also.
Very.
अच्छा, by the way, आप SBI बोल दो. उसके बाद just wanted to before we talk about I wanted to bring in this mention of the lock-in of shares which are opening, and that's an important one for the next few days. But पहले SBI.
Yeah, so SBI, when you're looking at it sequentially, ROAs will come off. I think we've somewhere also started to peak in terms of ROAs. So ROAs may come off. How much do they come off will be a key question. If they come off too much, then the street may not like it. Margins may be a little bit of pressure, but operating profit will fall is what the consensus seems to feel, and fall quite a bit when you're looking at it sequentially, which will impact profit after tax. Provisions, no real major spike, but because agri seasonally it's a tough quarter for agri Q3, and therefore you might see a little bit of spike on the credit cost provisioning front. Slippage is largely expected to be quite controlled, and NPA ratios also quite controlled, in fact falling. Around a 2.5% loan growth QOQ is what we are building in as part of our estimates. Maybe closer to 3%, 2.5 to 3%, and even deposit growth around 2%. So deposit growth will still lag, but some commentary on that will really help as to how how are deposits really doing in this environment, because deposit growth has caught up with loan growth.
But do you think that because SBI has a large footprint into semi-urban and tier 2, tier 3 cities, where there's some bit of revival in demand and others and purchasing power, deposit growth?
मेरी आवाज को क्या हो गया? जोर से बोल.
मेरी आवाज अभी थोड़ी सी बंद है.
Okay, fine. But very quickly. And then I have a question on PNB.
उसके वजह से कुछ it may surprise on the upside.
Deposit growth, I don't think so. Not yet.
But here's the quick question. So there is a note that I have from one of the fund managers on PNB.
Okay.
All right. But the thesis seems to be that cheap valuations, you could argue even for SBI, not too expensive, comfortable CD ratio to help grow faster than industry, keep margins stable, and reversal in provisions to improve profitability further. Reversal in provisions, ROA may have peaked, but reversal in provisions for a lot of banks, including maybe SBI, including in PNB, does it make PSU banks a good bet?
So the key factor, and it's a difficult question because across cycles, PSU banks have always demonstrated that they slip. in some form or shape. It's the unfortunate reality, and therefore it's very difficult to call this one. Not trading as cheap anymore. PNB at one point was trading at 0.4 times price to book. It's currently trading at 1 time price to book. So not only has the profit on the book value started to add up, you've also had the book value re-rating also happening, and therefore some people have made phenomenal returns on some of these stocks. Bank of Maharashtra was one of them. 12 rupees se abhi kept, I think 60 bucks is what it trades at, if I'm not wrong. So some of these have been multi-baggers in just like 2 years, 2-3 years.
Got it.
I'm not sure how much of margin of safety is left in some of these, but at the same time, if they are, because this cycle is so much, the asset quality cycle is so skewed towards the private sector, MFI, etc., which PSUs generally have a very, very low mix in terms of their loan book, and therefore you might well see the PSU banks continue to do decently well because recoveries will continue to be strong.
Got it.
SBI not as much in terms of recoveries anymore, but the pipeline for some of these other ones, PNB in particular, Union Bank for example, Bank of Maharashtra, some of these may really do well. Also, you may want to keep your eye out on the free float on these. The free float on these is very, very thin.
Those 5 PSU banks which are supposed to raise funds, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. But a common favorite between a lot of analysts is Canara Bank, from whatever I have been speaking.
Okay.
But what we'll do is, sir, what I'll do is, I'll take the entire PSU bank universe and I'll do a quick reel on what are the top 5 PSU banks, what is the upside, and what are analysts penciling in.
Let's do that.
So I'll do a quick reel so that people can know this better.
Okay, now before I get to the lock-ins opening, there are questions. So I just want to take a couple of questions. Yeah, one of them, of course, is on is from Rohit Gudgutia on Cochin Shipyard and Ganesha Ecosphere. So Rohit, I mean, obviously we can't talk about views here, but I'll take a moment to tell you about Ganesha. So Ganesha Ecosphere in the quarter gone by, and these results came out on the 2nd of Feb if I'm not wrong, clocked in a revenue growth of 40%, margin steady at 14%, net profit moved up to 30 crores from 12.5 crores. All right. And if you look at what Ganesha has done in the last 4 quarters, their PBT or chalo PAT le lo, right? PAT used to be 3 crore, 13 crore as of December 2023. The last 4 quarters has been 22 crore, 23 crore, 27 crore, 30 crore. So it's on a bit of a growth path for sure, and which is actually a really good sign. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, as you would say, we don't have too many these things about
coverage on it.
Analyst coverage on it, but their own projections have been pretty strong about what they want to do and what is it that they have done. So, and they their capacities, etc., have all been very, very strong. They're talking about how they're converting significant pet waste into recycling, scrap bottles, etc., and all of that. So they're doing the right thing, and recycling is a very big theme. Ganesha Ecosphere le lo, Gravita le lo, Tina Rubber le lo.
Yes.
That whole bucket is getting some premium valuations because they are in the right space. They get recycling wala, and India has a big need for that, right? Or the world has a big need for that.
And very few players also. So mostly the scale for them will come up over a period of time because सब लोग उधर ही आएंगे.
Exactly. So they are entering into newer partnerships, newer products, etc. They're doing a lot of stuff. So might be an interesting company to look at, but suffice to say 42 times, so nowhere cheap. But they are growing very fast. So that's something that people should keep in mind. So that was as far as Ganesha Ecosphere goes. I'll take a minute very quickly and just tell you guys about this thing. No, I don't have a view on Cochin, by the way.
Cochin, a limited view which I have is that they have a good order book which is there, which is for 2 to 3 years, which is there. The big trigger for them is the next IAC, which is indigenous aircraft carrier. The second one which they are supposed to get, it hasn't come in yet. Expectation is that wo aayega. It will be a mirror of the earlier one, which is Vikrant. And the reason being that Vikramaditya, which is another aircraft carrier, over the next 10 years or so is going to get decommissioned also. So in that point of time, NITA, what do you call a replacement there. So we are means if you ask the defense forces, they are looking for 3 aircraft carriers. So they have 3 and तो जो विक्रमादित्य है उसके लिए वो एक रिप्लेसमेंट चाहिए, पर अभी नहीं तो मे भी आएगा. इट टेक 7 years फॉर वन.
नंबर्स में क्या होएगा?
30-40,000 करोड़ का ऑर्डर होगा एक अगर आएगा तो. दैट्स
ओके. सो आप बोल रहे हो डिफेंस का ऑर्डर बुक इज अ क्वेश्चन, बट कोचिंग के लिए इट्स नॉट अ क्वेश्चन.
क्वेश्चन के लिए
इट्स अ गुड ऑर्डर दैट माइट कम इन.
द करेक्शन व्हिच वी हैव सीन 40-45% इज प्राइमरली ऑन द वैल्यूएशन पार्ट ऑफ इट. पूरे डिफेंस में हमने देखा है वो. और इस बार डिफेंस की स्पेंडिंग भी 1.8 लाख करोड़ की कैपिटल आउटले व्हिच इज स्लाइटली लोअर व्हिच दे आर सेइंग. But this government has not shied away from investing further in defense if required. So अभी के लिए 1.8 है, आगे अगर बढ़ाना हो तो बढ़ा देंगे. But point is that अभी के लिए the path of revenue is there. 2 to 3 years का पूरा order book है, and they are getting into green boats as well, right? Means in the sense, if you go to some of the inland waterways के orders हैं उसमें hydrogen cell based boats they're making it. So those are good markets to get into. Foreign exports are going up. So
would you bet your life on Cochin Shipyard?
I have to look at the
valuation.
There's
a question
from a fundamental point of view. There's nothing wrong.
Is that the one stock you will bet your life on?
I'll help you with valuation because
I don't have
because that is your key concern. So around 38,000 crore का market cap है. Around 4,000 crore का top line है. और अराउंड 24% का मार्जिन है. तो 1000 करोड़ का EBITDA पकड़ के चलो. एंड बेसिकली ट्रेडिंग एट 37-38 टाइम्स EBITDA. There is absolutely no debt in the company.
Zero debt.
And therefore the price to earnings multiple also is closer to maybe 45 times right now.
The question is that do you want to give 45 times to a defense company which is more capital? So आप capital बोलते हो तो this is as good as capital only, right? In the capital intensive industry because they're making ships and everything. So I think अगर if the market says that कि 45 times is expensive for capital based company, then it's expensive for all, including Cochin.
But the likes of ABB etc., the return ratios are way different than what the Cochin Shipyard return ratios would be, right? So therefore higher multiples might be warranted there.
The difference between PSU and private, right? That's a difference only.
Maybe even that.
वही रहेगा ना difference.
Maybe even that.
वो बैंक तो ऊपर नीचे जाएगा, right?
ठीक है. So not too bad.
Not too bad, I think.
Okay, fair call.
68% owned by government and diluting.
Diluting.
Yeah, that too. By the way, speaking of dilution, very quickly, before I come to what companies would you bet your life on? There's a nice question. I'm trying to think which company would I bet on my life on. Maybe Hersh Karate company. But just lock-in details opening up, right? So just thought we'll highlight that. On the 6th Feb,
we're
right?
Looking for investors, sir.
I said I'll bet my life, not my money. So BLS e-services, 45% of the outstanding equity opened today, right? The stock is marginally lower. Watch out for Unicommerce on the 10th of Feb, 44% of the outstanding equity. Ola Electric Mobility, 44% of the outstanding shares, or 10th of Feb.
फर्स्ट क्राई आने वाला है, SSD
नहीं अभी नहीं है. एंड रुके शायद हो, बट सीगैल इंडिया on the 10th of Feb, 62% of outstanding equity, and Northern Arc Capital on 17th Feb, 61%. So in the very near term, these are the ones. But over the next month, a clutch of these IPOs, जिनका this thing will open.
So इसमें
lock-ins will open.
इसमें couple of things इसमें जो ये है कि जो anchor booked जो है हुआ था उसमें 30-day वाले तो already they have it's open now. The 90-day one is going to come in. Many of them also are getting the 1-year one. Means जहाँ पर 1 year or 2 years का आपका लॉक इन रहा है प्रमोटर की वजह से वो खुल रहा है, पर उसका मतलब वो नहीं है कि वो that paper is going to come into the market.
May not, yeah. Just be careful.
The 90-day one are going to come for sure. And that is उसमें ओला भी आ जाता है, उसके अंदर बाकी फर्स्ट क्राई आ जाता है, आपके बाकी सब आ जाते हैं, बालाजी है, you have क्रॉस which is coming in, then arcade is there, Garuda is there, Wari Energy will be there over a period of time. So वो सारे जो हैं आने वाले हैं, and best part ये है कि many of them have corrected from the tops. So the pressure will be there in these stocks because they have to take the money out. Anchor book तो लेकर जाएगा ही जाएगा, वो थोड़ा रखेगा, उनका 30 डे में वो निकल गया, अब 90 डे में वो बाकी का 50% वो निकालेंगे, तो वो प्रेशर आएगा ही आएगा इन कंपनीज.
प्रेशर तो आएगा, अभी कितना आएगा इज द क्वेश्चन. एंड व्हाट वील डू इज वील आल्सो ब्रिंग यू अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव लिस्ट of the major ones.
We should try and do that.
Tomorrow.
The last small
we'll do that tomorrow.
This March might be slightly different than last March. Last March low, टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए
Correct.
लॉसेस बुक कर रहे थे.
हाँ.
इस बार लोगों को लॉसेस हुए हैं.
हाँ.
राइट,
बुक करनी है.
ऐसा हो सकता है, नहीं ऐसा हो सकता है कि प्रॉफिट बुक कर ले, कि प्रॉफिट बुक कर लो एक बार के लिए, क्योंकि लॉस के सामने एडजस्ट हो रहा है. पीपल डू दैट आल्सो बाय द वे,
Yes.
एंड देयरफॉर कुड बी इंटरेस्टिंग टू सी इफ दैट वर टू हैपन, बिकॉज़ यू वांट सम लिक्विडिटी, दिस दैट एटसेट्रा. आई माइट एज वेल, बिकॉज़ द लॉसेस विल टेक केयर ऑफ द प्रॉफिट. सो
But closer towards the end of March,
closer
my
to
sense is,
actually
we'll
now
start
people
to
do
see-
it between 10th and
Correct.
20th of March.
So people will start doing it 10 to 20th, and maybe closer towards March, you might see a rally as well. Of course, very far away, but I mean,
Who knows?
because
Hopefully we'll be
Niraj
there to
sir-
talk about it.
Because Niraj sir is making a bet, I'm also making a bet.
What is the bet about, by the way?
कि लास्ट 10 दिन में जाएगा ऊपर.
कॉफी है.
नहीं
नहीं,
कॉफी
sir.
ऑफी सर, आई कांट अफोर्ड एक्सपेंसिव कॉफी, आई कांट.
Plus he doesn't have coffee. मैं तो सजीत को ऑफिस का कॉफी देने वाला था. So it doesn't matter. अच्छा, by the way, very quickly. So pharma was the other interesting one, right? I was again, because that sector is done so well. Today also at the start of the day was the best performing sector. I was thinking, was all CDMO companies have delivered good numbers and given strong guidance?
Yes.
So therefore the undercurrent is positive there, right? एक
Yes.
होता है कि आपने अच्छे रिजल्ट नहीं दिए लेकिन सिर्फ गाइडेंस दिया है, things might improve. How many people trust it? People will wait for the proof. यहाँ पे from Ami Organics to Divi's to Aarti Pharma to Piramal Pharma to
Yes.
Laurus CDMO, Syngene, everybody's delivered decent on the CDMO front and given strong guidance. So ये undercurrent है that may not die. Now valuations are a different kettle of fish. Laurus is extremely expensive. If you look at trailing 12 months PE or 1 year forward PE, extremely expensive. Divi is also starting to look expensive. Now the stock is virtually doubled, if you will. So starting to look expensive, but if the growth comes in, then it may just re-rate or help the stock stay
So when
at
you say
elevated
the
level.
growth comes in, let's elaborate on it. Means what is the trigger that you're looking at? Means everyone has given a good outlook for FY26. सबने दिया है और numbers भी decent आए हैं सबके.
मैं बताऊं, मैं आपका सवाल समझ गया, मैं बताऊं क्या होता है. सो यू नो, ये लॉरस ने भी एक पहले बोला था हमारे इंटरव्यूज में भी कि जब क्लाइंट्स आ रहे हैं, दे आर आस्किंग कि द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन दे आस्क, हाउ मच कैपेसिटी यू हैव. Okay, you don't have the capacity, then I don't want to even think of giving you orders. So all of these companies had to build out capacities without seeing the returns, because at that point of time nobody is ordering. Now that they have the capacities and if their capabilities are tested and found to be okay, then they will get large orders, which is what.
So inquiries आ रही हैं पर अभी conversion नहीं हुआ है.
Inquiries आ रही थी 2 साल से
आज
कि हाँ, we want to
पहले
engage but we want to see capacities.
तो conversion के लिए क्या लगेगा?
No,
क्योंकि आपके कैपेसिटी आपने बिल्ड कर दी.
कैपेबिलिटी थी,
कैपेसिटी भी आ गई.
हाँ, अभी कैपेसिटी भी आ गई है. नाउ इफ यू आर स्टिल एबल टू एग्जीक्यूट ऑन द लार्जर कैपेसिटी विद द सेम कैपेबिलिटी, देन वेरी लाइकली दैट लार्ज ऑर्डर फ्लोज कुड कम इन
and at better margin. And at better margin, because sir, these CDMO
is
products is a higher margin product. And Laurus has been guiding for this. I mean, I'm tired of listening to commentary. भाई अभी 3 क्वार्टर हो गए यार, थक गया मैं. 25%
नहीं,
उससे ज्यादा
उससे ज्यादा है.
एग्जैक्टली, बट दैट्स व्हाट
3 क्वार्टर से तो मैं सुन रहा हूँ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but now they just so again take a call on the valuation. Some of these are very egregiously expensive, but there might be decent plays out there. So bear that in mind. Just wanted to make that point.
Anyways,
Cognizant?
I think decent set of numbers.
And then we have some questions to
and
take.
pretty much in line with the kind of commentary that we have seen from other IT players. 3.5 to 6% growth in 2025. Which is coming to Q4 again a weak one, minus 0.5 to 1% growth. That's what Q4 मतलब हमारा Jan March उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ मैं उसमें. So it is pretty, it's mirroring the commentary which is coming from other.
Got it. And positive for IT then?
Positive for IT, but
the index is marginally in the green today.
हाँ, इंडेक्स मार्जिनली ग्रीन में है और आई थिंक फार्मा और हेल्थ केयर ही है, ये तीन ही तो ऊपर है.
I think it's more defensive, sir, than.
Yeah, but it's becoming a very tough. See, इसका पूरा ऑपरेशन इंडिया में है पर लिस्टेड देयर, राइट? सो इट्स दैट वे, बट दैट्स व्हाई a lot of analysts are tracking Cognizant because it gives them a pulse and a much better commentary than Indian listed companies in IT. Simple as that. I mean, Indian listed company will sugarcoat everything and tell you, but you can't do that if you're listed in the US. So you have to be a little more frank. My belief is that. So वो थोड़ा बहुत वो आता है.
Sebi is listening, sir.
Sugarcoat ही है और क्या है बताओ तुम.
ठीक है, चलो. अच्छा, now Jack has asked a good question. Jack के पहले crazy था. If you had to bet on your life on a stock or a company today, which one would?
वो तुमने ऑलरेडी पूछ लिया.
नहीं, कहाँ पे पूछा? किसी ने जवाब तो दिया नहीं.
आपने लॉरस लैब से चालू कर दिया.
नहीं. देखो, bet your life on a stock or a company today. Which one would you? Yeah, I would choose a. Maybe you could argue a lot of that. But I would choose a healthcare name. Simply, you want to bet your company name on the. But yeah, on a very serious note, yeah, betting a life is too difficult.
Yeah.
It brings me to this thing that quite unlike पहले होता था the Warren Buffett way, right? Put all your eggs in one basket and watch the basket concentrated portfolio and paid rich dividends. I think the theme has shifted because there's so many arrows coming from all directions that you make a slightly more diversified portfolio. So okay, अगर accident हो भी for whatever reason because there's so many changes, you don't suffer too badly on a portfolio. So actually this might be a bad idea to bet a very large portion of your portfolio on one stock. Actually diversify it as much as you can.
So I just want to flip it and ask you, अगर 5 sector हैं और उसमें तुमको allocations करने हैं percentage wise, so which will be the 5 sectors and how much allocations will make?
Yeah, so अच्छा, if I have to choose only 5 sectors.
5 sectors. हाँ, तुम्हारे हिसाब से 5.
हाँ ठीक है. So okay, very quickly, right? I will definitely choose healthcare right now. Let's say with a I will, so I'll play it standard 20%. No, I'll do it 20% because कहाँ से bomb आएगा पता नहीं है. But healthcare seems very poised for a great run. Okay, I will choose BFSI because the valuations are attractive. I will choose chemicals because the valuations are attractive. It's a bit of a punt. Okay, so I will probably give 15% there and not 20% because क्या होगा पता नहीं है. But valuations are very attractive. 3 years से कुछ हुआ नहीं है. Very likely might do well if things work out. So that is the third one on my list. I am a big believer of the tech businesses and selectively, not in an IT fund, but selectively, right? If these platform companies were to correct quite a bit, somebody from
like
Swiggy, Zomato, what have you, there are some 8-9 platform companies, right? There's PB Fintech, blah blah, etc. Some of those could do very well. I love what the ER&D companies in India are doing. And therefore, so IT would be that, not just pure play IT services. So that's
you don't want to go with the traditional IT companies, but
no, some of them are also doing well, but you can choose niches. So make up a portfolio, this thing. So those 4, then 20% I'll sit on cash. Very quickly. Your thoughts, huh?
I would say FMCG companies. I think it's the year of FMCG companies which will come.
Actually, I missed that, yeah.
So I'll go with 25% for FMCG, then followed by PSU banks. I still that they will still outperform the private sector banks. So another 25% there, and uske baad capital goods would be around 10 to 15%, followed by banks and means NBFCs maybe another 10% because they will outperform the private sector banks. And finally, I would go for a defense jumper baki hai.
Okay.
I would go 50% lenders. One, also because I understand them better, but two, because I think the underperformance has been large. And I would go bottom up. I would not go top down on the lenders. I don't think all will do well. Second, I would do maybe 15 to 20% in pharma, CDMO facing more, and chemicals, both. So 15 to 20%. Again, I would look at bottom up. I wouldn't look at top down. I don't necessarily think all will do very well. So that's 70. I would do maybe 10 to 15% in QSR companies. I think we've seen a little bit of a rally, but I think that there is still some bandwidth left to play QSR. And I think some of the discretionary spend that will come in QSR. And I would do maybe 5 to 10% in one select name of a consumer durable company, maybe an AC manufacturer and the like. And then I'd probably sit on 10 to 15% of cash at this point.
Okay. A very quick rapid fire, 10 seconds each, right? Jack is asking about how is Cummins looking, right? Technically and technically muted movement today. How do you read this as an entry strategy? A lot of people who are short Jack have reversed now their shorts and are bracing for maybe slightly better days because Cummins has underperformed. So that's one on Cummins. Either of you disagree? Numbers theek the. Yeah, exactly. Which is why. So I think that's
the
one.
numbers were better than peers.
Yeah.
Views on oil production data from US yesterday. Either of you have a view there? No. Crude came off a little bit, but otherwise
no.
Nothing material.
Nothing material means Trump is going. The only thing which I just want to mention is that there's a 10% tariff on China for crude and LNG which is there, and I think if China is already looking for alternatives, and there's no impact which is going to come in, because 2% can impact the total consumption is around 2 to 3% of the total consumption basket, US crude and LNG. तो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला।
Okay, perfect. ठीक है. Axis Bank, what have brokerages said about Axis Bank post results? This underline wants to know the view on Axis Bank. Any brokerage remembers? You remember?
So largely brokerages seem positive from a valuation standpoint, but again from a clarity of from an uncertainty, asset quality uncertainty standpoint, there's still question marks.
Still question marks. Okay, that's the view of the brokerages.
And just to end, there is a ITC numbers which are going to come in, which will include hotels numbers for Q3, because it's effective from Jan 1st. And then you have the Bharti Airtel and Britannia. Britannia again, consumption is something which
6 index companies today.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
But less than 10% weightage.
Less than 10%.
But from a macroeconomic point of view, it gives you a good indication.
Yes,
of
very
what's
good
happening.
lens. Yes,
Yeah, the
what's
commentary
happening.
certainly. Okay, well, maybe we'll keep this going.
pocket square
Your
is,
shirt and my pocket square, twinning, not bad. In fact, my shirt as well. But per se, thank you so much for joining in today. To Bimar nahi hai, right?
Nahi.
You're okay.
I'm
Your
fine.
voice was a bit muted. All okay.
AC.
AC, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining in. See you tomorrow.